Welcome to the Women in Wealth podcast, brought to you by Regina McCann Hess, a certified financial planner with over 2 decades of experience. This show is for professional women who want guidance in working towards their retirement vision in learning, building, planning, striving for your dreams, and putting the work in now so that you can pursue your financial independence. Hello, I'm Regina McCann Hess, and welcome to our Women in Wealth series. Today, I have a new friend with me. And Rebecca, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love about what you do?
Sure. I am Rebecca Roskey-Brunner with Complete Care Strategies and For Life Care Services. We are a care management and patient advocacy firm. So I have nurses, social workers, and occupational therapists that work for me who act as the professional family member for our clients. So taking them to doctor's appointments, advocating for them in the hospital, helping them age in place at home or move to a community, whatever they need. We work with special needs adults and children, the medically complex, and the aging population. And then at For Life Care Services, we provide daily money management, guardianship, and POA services. So helping people with their bills as they age and they can't write their bills out anymore, or making sure that people have the quality of life that they need if they need a POA or a guardian for those services. And
Wow,
I
that's a
like
lot, like a lot. But I mean, I work with people from all stages of life, and I can tell you, I've been through that a lot of different times with different clients, and it is such a needed service, incredibly helpful to families because I have one family who, the sons are here and the daughter's in a different state, and the daughter's handling everything from like
Mhm.
midway through the country, but the sons were actually the ones put in charge, were given the POA, which is always hysterical. It's like, all right, so I can't take direct direction from her because it's them. So we have to have this three-way thing. But I mean, it's amazing all the things they have to go through to take care of their family member. So what you're doing could be such an added benefit for them and other people like them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, most of our clients either don't have children or their children are
Hmm.
overwhelmed because they're in that sandwich generation,
Right.
right? Their parents are aging and they're raising a family and working,
Hmm.
or they live across the country or in a different country, and
Right.
their parents are here. So, that is the majority of our clients. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. All right. So tell us, like, how did you go into this? Like, I want to hear the backstory because I love
Yeah.
what you're doing.
So I was an emergency room nurse for 20 years, um,
Hmm.
and I loved what I did for a very long time. But after probably 15, 18 years, I was kind of getting burnt out. So I had seen all of these, patients coming into the hospital and nobody knew anything about them. People would be coming in from nursing homes, and I would call the nursing home and say, like, hey, what medications is this person on? They'd be like, oh, I just met this person today. I know nothing. And I'm like,
Mm.
somebody told me. And they're like, no, we don't know anything. So
Oof.
I had noticed that, and then I was starting to on my journey of looking for different jobs. So I had applied for this company. I had 4 jobs when I applied for this company. I was still working in the ER, but dabbling in other things. And when I started working with this company, I just fell in love, and it was kind of kismet. The co-founders and I really worked well together, and they wanted a succession plan. They wanted to retire, and it was a match made in heaven, kind of.
Oh, that's awesome. That is
Yeah.
awesome. And then so you're using your own nursing background to really guide these families and the patients themselves or the people. They're not always patients, but to guide everyone to where they are now and to ease them along to the next stage of things.
Correct. Yeah, we help kind of navigate the whole system, right? The medical system is so broken, and your
Mm.
primary care doctor is not talking to your cardiologist, who's not talking to your oncologist, who's not talking to the podiatrist. So we are that constant that can connect everyone and make sure that everyone's on the same page. And we do much more than just healthcare. Sometimes we're getting trees cut down for people or helping people oversee, you know, revamps of their house if they need to modify a bathroom or things like that. Taking cars to the DMV, for checkups. Kind of anything, we'll do anything.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then sometimes family members have to hide the car from the family.
Sometimes we have to unplug different things, or the car is at the,
At
mechanic
the shop.
for years on end. Right. Yeah. So we are definitely, helping the families navigate as much as, they need from us. So we
Yeah.
can be involved as much or as little as they need.
So who usually reaches out to you? Is it the person that's aging, or is it the family
No,
member
no.
who's struggling?
Yeah, the family member or sometimes the trusted advisor, right? So sometimes
Mm-hmm.
the lawyers or the financial advisors are the first ones that are seeing a decline um,
Mm-hmm.
in clients, and they're referring the children to us or they're referring their clients to us. As we age, we never think that we need help.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to ask for help, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to give up our autonomy, and we want to make sure that our voice is always heard. And our goal at Complete Care Strategies is to make sure that our clients' voice is heard because we are working with, you know, the aging population, special needs population whose voices is generally overlooked. So whatever
Yeah.
they want is what our goal is for them.
Right. Right. And it's a huge thing to make sure they don't feel like they're giving up their independence
100%. No.
for a lot of reasons, for their mental, emotional outlook, and all the other reasons involved. But I know that's like I have a client right now. Again, the car's at the shop type of thing, but she can't drive it because there's memory issues, and that's the biggest problem. But I said to her kids today, I was just like, well, you have to realize you're doing the right thing, but you have to realize that she sees this as a loss of her independence, and that could set her back even further in her health. So we have to be very, very, kid glove type of
Yeah.
approach with how we handle this. So it's
Yeah. And
tedious for sure.
yeah, it's tedious and it can be overwhelming, especially for the kids. The kids are grieving the parents that they once had if their parents have Alzheimer's or dementia.
Yeah.
And the parents, if they, know that they're failing, they're grieving, the life that they once had. So there's a lot of different emotions involved, and a lot of stress and scared and, all of it. So it's trying to alleviate everyone's anxieties a little bit and take care of everyone. I mean, which is, the ultimate goal.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So when you have obviously I'm a nurse too, right? So I have the background, and I'm not in the trenches right now, but I, remember. But it's always better to keep a person in their home as long as possible for their, for many, many reasons, health, all sorts of health reasons, emotional, mental, all that fun stuff. But what happens, like, how do you help the family transition to the next stage when that becomes unfeasible? And I know you try everything to keep them at home as long as possible, but at some point there might be a step to an assisted living or a full on care facility. What do you do with families to help them through that?
So, every family is a little bit different and every client's a little bit different. I mean, there's always, if they're not moving in when it's always better to move sooner rather than later if you have to move, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a backslide in cognition.
Mm-hmm.
But just helping support the families, making sure that the family knows that, the more normalcy we can bring with them, not buying all new furniture, bringing a lot of pictures and kind of setting up the room as to how we want it set up, making sure that this can be a long-term goal,
Right.
trying to find a community that they can move to, and that's where they can live the rest of their life instead of bouncing around. Not all communities are created equal.
No,
Um,
for sure.
you know, having a lot of that research, which is what we do, and we're always in the communities, is really important. Like there are certain places that are free placement agencies that people know about, and they get kickbacks from the different communities. We don't take any money from communities, so we are working for our clients. But I would say, use if you have to use one of those, use a local one and not a national one.
Hmm. Yes, I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because free is not free. Free can be the most expensive thing that you do.
Yes.
And if somebody tells you you're not paying for something, you're probably paying double, just in a different way.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And some people need to utilize those, but I would always say try for a local one because at least the people that you're working with know the communities, right? And if you
Yes.
don't have a lot of money, then you need to work with some with people in those at the free placement agencies. But
Hmm. Hmm.
um, yeah, you
Yeah.
want somebody who knows the community.
Right, right. And I'm lucky in a sense that I see a lot of these communities because I have clients living in different ones and I go visit them
Mm-hmm.
and I see what's going on. And then I talk to the family members. And, so sometimes they have a really, poshy name or a poshy address. Sometimes that doesn't mean they're getting great care. Other
So
times it
true.
does. Other
Yeah.
times it does, but not all the time. And I have been surprised a couple times at some of the places where I was like, oh, I would have thought this would have been better here, but it's not.
Yeah.
And then I'm happily surprised on the other side for some of the other facilities as well.
Yeah. And it's always, you need to have somebody have oversight in those communities because
Yeah.
people become complacent. So if it's not someone like myself or a care manager, then if they're close to family and family can visit all the time, that's great too. But people need to have eyes on the person living in those communities.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's just going to keep everybody honest, right? If you know somebody's going to, check your homework, you're going to do your homework. You know?
That's right. That's right.
Exactly. So if people want to learn more about you and what you're doing in your business, where would they find some information about you?
You can go to completecarestrategies.com. We are revamping our For Life Care Services website right now, but that should be up in a couple months. Or you can go to our Facebook or my LinkedIn account or Complete Care Strategies LinkedIn account, or you can call us. I'm always happy to talk to anyone. And I have a network. We're part of the Aging Life Care Association. I have a network of care managers across the country who are part of the Aging Life Care Association that I could refer people to.
Oh,
So
that's great.
your mom lives in California, you're here, and you don't know where to turn, call me and I can refer you over there. And our office number is 610-265-4300.
Don't call yourself much, do you?
No, I don't call myself it.
I do the same thing. That's why I'm like, what's my number? Which
Yeah,
number
my
am I
cell number
giving?
I know, but
I do the same thing. All right. Well, so, what have been some of the challenges as a professional woman for you?
as a professional woman, you know, balancing home and work life, right? I mean, I think that's always a big one. And
Hmm.
sometimes not, imposter syndrome, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think those are big ones. I grew up in a time, where I never felt, I don't want to say, where I didn't have the ability to stand up for myself. So I've stood up for myself since I was very young, and I've worked with surgeons and I've worked with all different kinds of, men. And I've never had a problem standing up for myself. I really think that my own mind is my own problem. So, not feeling like I'm not giving enough to my family, I'm not around them enough, or I am not good enough to do what I'm doing. Sometimes, the imposter syndrome, I would say
Yeah. Yeah, that's
those are
the
my
biggest.
battles.
That's a big challenge. But a big challenge for a lot of people, not just women, but men have that challenge. Not, I think women probably have it a little bit more, but I know we all struggle with that imposter syndrome, like a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, time machine, what's your retirement vision look like?
So I don't plan on retiring anytime soon because I
No, I
love what
get
I
it.
do. But my daughter is currently in school for occupational therapy, and I told her she has to work for someone else for at least 10 years before she works for me. But I think that is kind of her goal. She kind of already works for me when she comes home. We do home care also, so she does home care for me with some of our clients, and she loves special needs. She loves the aging population. So I think that is kind of my succession plan. If
I love
everything
it.
goes well, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And then she has the foresight that, she already knows that she loves being in that space. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so I'm lucky on that aspect. If it all works out, who knows? I
Yeah.
mean, it could change, and she may say, "No, I'm only going to work in a hospital with pediatrics." I've
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thought's there. And I think it's cool to think about working with your kid. And I'm the same way. Like my kids are, I've two in college, one in high school, about to graduate high school, and my oldest is graduating college. But even if we did think about working together, my thing was they have to go out and work somewhere else for at least 5 years because, the real world is going to teach you more than, being in the little cocoon. So I love that. I love that you set that same bar. You set it a little bit higher though with 10 years. I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Well, I only hire care managers with at least 10 years experience. So she would
Oh,
need 10 years experience in the field before she started working for me as a care manager, right? I mean, you need, for what we do, you need a wealth of information. Like as a, you were a nurse, right? As a
yeah.
nursing student, you don't know half of anything when you come out of nursing school. You
Oh
are
gosh.
a deer in headlights and, you know, you need all of that background and you need some life experience to
Yeah.
do what we do, to
Right.
finagle different things and talk to different people. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I always tell like kids coming out of college, and they're not kids, they're adults, but I just happen to call them kids. You know, this one guy worked for me a couple of years ago, and he was actually really, really good. Um, but in the beginning, I was just like, listen, you don't even know what you don't know. You have a degree, but that's like not practical knowledge. It's good knowledge, but now you have to learn how to apply it and
Mhm.
really like think on your feet and react. And like he was really good in the sense that like 9 months later he came back and he's like, oh my God, you're right, I learned more here in the past 9 months than I did in the 4 years of college, only because he was able to apply it, not because I taught him more. He was just able to apply it and get real experience.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
learning how to interact with people and seeing how people every person is so different, right? And every
Mm-hmm.
or just like, investing, every market is so different. I don't know anything about investing, so I have no idea. But, just medications. When we used to give people
Mm-hmm.
medications in the hospital and we would say, okay, this medication drops people's blood pressure. Well, the people that were selling it would come in like, we've never heard of that before. I'm like, ask any nurse who is working with that antibiotic, it drops their blood pressure.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I'll pick on myself too. When I was in nursing school, I had an internship or whatever you call it, externship, whatever they called.
Mhm.
And I was working in critical care. And you're just kind of their gopher and helping them and all like that. And I remember like within the first week, they're like, oh, go get a bag of D5W. And I'm like, what's that? No, I was a junior in college,
Right.
had no idea what that was. And she just looked at me like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know.
So I say that because it happens to the best of us, right? I
Yes.
knew my stuff in books, but I had never hung a bag of IV fluid.
Yeah. Well, they don't teach us to do those things. And we're limited in school. It's until we're on the floor and doing it every day is when we really can learn those skills.
Yeah. 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 So and you can apply that to any industry whatsoever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you are definitely working in a field that is amazing, but also so, so, so needed. I always worry about people who even go to the doctors like as they age or if they have a serious condition, they go to the doctors by themselves because they don't understand half the things that the docs are saying to them. Whereas someone like you or someone like me, we're catching things that they're just going way over other people's heads. And I did that with my father-in-law when he had cancer. I went to the doctor's appointments because he the first time he came home, I'm like, all right, what happened? What did they talk about? He's like, I don't know. I just show up and do this. And I'm like, okay, when's the next appointment? Okay, I'm going to go with you.
Right. Right. I mean,
But people need an advocate.
they do, and especially when it comes to things like cancer or heart disease, the client is thinking, how is this affecting my life? I mean, I
Hmm.
was very sick 2 years ago and I was in the hospital and I needed one of my care managers to come in because I was thinking, how is this affecting me and my
Right.
business and my children and my health? And
Oh
they were
yeah.
asking the appropriate questions, right? They
Hmm.
were asking the questions. I was too in my
Yeah.
head to
Yep.
think about it. And our clients are just like that too. They're thinking, oh my God, I have cancer. What does this mean? What is going
Hmm.
to happen? And then the care manager can ask, what are the next steps? What are the outcomes? What stage are we in? All of the questions
Hmm.
that need to be asked and
Yeah.
writing it all down and then disseminating that to whoever the client wants us to disseminate to, if it's the family, the POA, whoever that is.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's a really, really good use of your team And the family probably doesn't even know how valuable that is unless they've lived it another through without having you. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So valuable. So I'm trying to think of our action item here. I'm thinking if my action item thought is, if you have an aging parent, like think about your plan. What's your plan? Develop your plan. Like start connecting with people like Rebecca, or like figuring out who is your person to call when stuff like that happens, that are going to help go in and take care of things for you, or at least guide you in taking care of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. And be proactive, right? Don't
Yeah.
wait till the crisis occurs. Have a plan proactively so that you know who to call. Even if it's, your cousin Sally, who's a nurse, have somebody that you know that you can contact, because when the crisis is here, then everything is chaotic and you don't know where to turn.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm so grateful that you came on today. This is a message a lot of people need to hear. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me. This is great.
Yeah, awesome. And thank everyone else for joining us. I really hope that you share this with a friend, because we all have aging family members and we all need somebody to help us with this. So please share this episode with them. My name again is Regina McCann Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management. My website is forgewealth.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Forge Wealth, and on LinkedIn, Regina McCann Hess. Go make it a great day. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Women in Wealth podcast. You can watch the founder's video I created for you to learn more about me and how I can guide you towards your financial independence at www.forgewealth.com. The information in this podcast is educational and general in nature and does not take into consideration the listener's personal circumstances. Therefore, it is not intended to be a substitute for specific, individualized financial, legal, or tax advice. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a final decision. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, and SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and Forge Wealth Management are separate entities from the LPL Financial. Our show guests and their companies are not affiliated with nor endorsed by LPL Financial, Private Advisor Group, or Forge Wealth Management.